Welcome to the shift where the whole room blows. DMG vibes got the city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. If you black, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm light, yeah, we shine just right. Respect your view, even if we don't align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. This that channel that be talking back, energy attack. Iron sharp as iron, watch the whole league react. Competition in the building, better tighten up your facts. We ain't clones, but we still mirror how you crack under impact. Every debater work hard, spot a weak, rap fast. You live wrong, paradigm shift, and break your stance. I'm the judge, the jury, the pen, the contrast. My bars hit always like a quadruple. Buying title shift, where the whole room glow. DMG vibes got the city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. If you black, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm light, yeah, we shine just right. Respect your view, even if we don't all align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. We invite every mind, long as you stand on yours. Walking with respect, leave with open doors. Channel stay lit, views jumping off from boards. STL bounce, yeah, the spy from the source. Competitors, welcome, step up, don't fold. We don't fit pressure, we refine under low. Thoughts heavy, we press them till the truth gets told. Shift so clean, it feel platinum even when it's gold. Come through correct, bring your logic and your proof. Speak your truth, just don't run from the truth. We debate with grace, that's the paradigm groove. Flow so smooth, even turbulence move. Welcome to the shift where the whole room go. DMG vibes got the city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. If you black, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm light, yeah, we shine just right. Respect your view, even if we don't align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. Where the whole go. DMG vibes got the city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' go. If you black, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm light, yeah, we shine just right. Respect your view, even if we don't align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. Welcome to the shift. DMG vibes got the city on go. Welcome to the shift. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. Welcome to the shift. If you black, I'm with you, with you, black, I'm with you. Welcome to the shift. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. Welcome to the shift. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. Welcome to the shift. DMG vibe got the city on low. Put paradigm shift TV on 4.
Y'all know I say that greeting for one reason and one reason only. It's because if you black, I'm with you. And I hope that you with me.
Hey, welcome to Paradigm Shift TV 314. This is your brother, DMG the Poet, aka Brother Pianki, also known as the infamous DMG. And we are back with a banger. This is part 3. Is Islam the black man's religion? Was Fard Muhammad a white man? But before we get into our spiel with the great Elder YARAH, aka the Black Sage, y'all know I got to do my spiel. Let me say God bless to all my Christian brothers and sisters. Let me say Hotep to all my Kemetic brothers and sisters. Let me say Shalom to all my Israelite brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum to all my brothers and sisters in the NOI. I want to say peace to all my brothers and sisters in the nation of gods and earth, them 5 percenters. Let me say Islam to all my Moorish brothers and sisters. I want to say what's up to all my atheist brothers and sisters. Shout out to all my Abo brothers and sisters. Big salute to all my Rasta brothers and sisters. I want to say what's up to all my Owaspi brothers and sisters. Create a gang. Last and certainly not least, I want to say Jumbo to all the rest of my brothers and sisters all throughout the African diaspora, be it here in the wilderness of the United States of America or beyond. Y'all know I say that greeting for one reason and one reason only. It's because if you're Black, I'm with you. Like hear me say in the song, our different ideologies should not keep us from uniting. We can have unity without uniformity. And last and certainly not least, we can disagree without being disrespectfully disagreeable. With that being said, my man, Black Sage, please reintroduce yourself to the Paradigm Shift TV 314 audience and let the people know what you got cooking.
No doubt. First of all, giving all praise to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to our ancestors, to Yeshua Mashiach, who showed us how to walk out the Torah circumspectly. Hey, man, shout out to DMG, man, for making this possible. Shout out to our good brother KHALIL SHABBAZ, who agreed to sort of have this debate or discussion or exchange, as we put it now. You know, we had to tweak it a little bit, you know, from our brother, but it's all good. Like I said, if I was him, I would have done the same thing. So at the end of the day, man, I'm just going to present my information, and then I think our good brother's going to come on at a later date, and then I guess kind of do a rebuttal or something like that, because this is the topic that we're talking about today that he posited. He wanted to challenge me on after last week, my last presentation, last week, I believe a week before ago, was Master Farad Muhammad, an actual Caucasian or white man. So that was the debate challenge he put out there. And so this is me addressing it. I'm going to take the affirmative position. And so then he'll take the negative position on this particular topic. And so he should follow behind me on this one. So I'm cool with it, right? So let's really get with it, man. I'm going to get right into it. Let me give some shout outs, man, to my good brother Yahoo, man. Yukanan, I see you in the chat, fam. More, man, he's an intelligent Israelite brother, man. Great in understanding and anthropology, sociology, dealing with the ancient language, man, in Israel. So a good, solid brother, man. I learned from this brother a lot. So shout out to him, man, and his family. Shout out to my beautiful sister Mika. I see her in the chat as well. Peace and blessing to anybody else that's tuning in. Shout out to KOT in the New Torah movement. Shout out to him as well. Shout out to everybody, man, who's tuning in, man, on the on YARAH's Black Sage channel. Man, let's get it in. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. But let's get to it, man. I got somewhere to be. So
no doubt. Hey, so me and Elder YARAH vibe on a lot of things, but number one is our obligation to our queens. He trying to get back to his, and I'm trying to get back to mine. Hey, Yahoo, and I hope I said the brother name correctly. Yahoo, I'm gonna put my email in the chat, brother. Hit me up, man. I want to get you on for an interview, presentation, whatever you want to do. But my email is in the chat.
Yeah. Very, very powerful brother, man. And like I said, hey man, it's all good. So I want to share my screen if you don't mind, man. If you have anything else, man, I want to get into it.
Hey, shout out to the moderators. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We appreciate you. And let's continue to get this thing popping, man.
Yeah. And I want to say to my good brother Shabazz, Assalamu alaikum, this is not a personal attack on the brother. This is not a personal attack. I don't know him personally, right? This is strictly about the information. So, but you know, we're gonna deal with it, and we're gonna deal with it in the way that hopefully our people, and this is why this is important. I want to say this, right? That's why I say the Most High know everything, right? The war that we're involved in this country between America and Iran, please believe me, a lot of people think that this is Israelite Christian versus Islam and Muslim. This is not what's going on. This is not what this war is about, right? This war is not about these differences in ideologies when it comes to belief systems. This war is one of global control. At the end of the day, this is still the white man fighting over control of this planet and who's going to be on the top, right? So this has to do with money. This has to do with New World Order. This has to do with who's going to control the masses, right? And so that's what we're seeing. But you had a lot of people who want to make this a religious war. This is not a religious war. This is not what we read in the book of Revelation, where people want to try to put all this stuff together and they want to do all these different shows and say, see, they're going to destroy the Temple Mount so they can come and build the third temple and all of that. Listen, there's a time and a place for all of those things to happen and to occur in some retrospect. It's my belief some of these things have already taken place, but there's neither hit on now. It's another discussion. But I want to say to our people, don't let this take you from whatever your square is. Don't let this take you from wherever your square is. But people are using this war to proselytize and bring people into false religions and false ideologies. So whether it's a Hebrew Israelite false teaching, whether it's a Christian false teaching, whether it's an Islamic false teaching, be very careful about how people are disseminating this information to you about what's going on. But I'm seeing a lot of uptick and a lot of chatter from the Nation of Islam and the Fruit of Islam. I'm seeing a lot of uptick and chatter about this. So I want to let my people know exactly what it is that they get to, because in anything that you do, your foundation has to be sure, right? So if you're building on a false premise and building on a false foundation, then your house is as sinking sand. It's going to fall. It's not going to stand, right? So you need to have a solid foundation and understanding of what it is that you're being taught or you're leaning towards is actually a solid foundation. So that's why I'm doing these presentations and these teachings. Y'all understand that? So this is not a personal attack on my good brother Shabazz. I don't know him from a can of paint. I don't. But what I do know is that people use things going on in the world today to try to persuade people or push them into an ideology or belief system that won't serve you in the long run. So let's get into it, man.
Yes, sir. And as Elder YARAH said, the way the brothers decided to do this, it's still an ongoing debate. But what you're gonna see is Elder YARAH put forth his information. KHALIL may come up and join the panel afterwards. He may not, but then KHALIL will do a rebuttal at a later date. I think he said something like the 22nd or something like that. So we basically going old school. Instead of the face-to-face, they just will be doing responses to each other. So, but all right, bro, it's on you. Let me mute out and let me know if you need anything. Just chime in and I'll be here.
Yeah, no doubt. And like I said, if you want to interrupt or if you want to do a commercial in between, just tell me, hold on, run it, do whatever you got to do, bro, because I'm going to run right through it. And, so let's get at it, right? So y'all see what it is. Exposing the master fraud, right? Elder YARAH Black says, so y'all see what it is, man. We're going to talk about the information that's been made available to us. Some things we can validate, some things we cannot validate, but we need to talk about and discuss it all, because what you need to have is a true and proper understanding of what it is that we've been fed, right? And why we've been fed these things, right? As a people. And I'm talking about melanated folks, black folks, right? I'm talking about our people, right? Whether you're Christian, Hebrew, Muslim, whatever you want to, whatever category you want to assimilate yourself into, we need to have a full understanding of what our people as a collective have been given, right? And been fed to us. So let's get it, right? Y'all see what it is, right? So let's go, right? So exposing the master fraud, right? Wali Muhammad, Wallace Fard Muhammad, also known as founder of the Nation of Islam. This is undebatable. We know he is the founder of Islam, or I should say not Islam, but the Nation of Islam. Let me correct myself. He is not the founder of Islam, but he's the founder of the Nation of Islam. The NOI is often linked to the possible alias of a man named William Thomas White, living at one point in time living in Ferndale, Michigan. He was also alias with the names Wally Fred, Dad Fred the Greek, Fred the Turk, Wally Dodd Fard, Wallace Dodd Ford, 1924 marriage certificate, marriage record. We know that's exactly who he is. That's, I said, those things we can actually validate. Wally D. Ford, 1926 prison record. We can validate that. William D. Fard, 1930 census. We can validate that. Master Fard Muhammad, the founder of the Nation of Islam tradition. We can validate that. Also, he's was known as the prophet. So all of these things we know about him, at least we can validate. We can validate, right? Not just talking about hearsay or some secondhand information. We make it say that about the first few, but these right here, Wallace Dodd Ford, Wally D. Ford, right? William D. Fard, Master Fard Muhammad. We can validate these things, right? So these are not things Elder YARAH is making up. These are things that we know exist in an actual record to confirm that this person, Wali Muhammad, or AKA Wallace Fard Muhammad, is a person who has gone by these different names and aliases. And if you know anybody, living or dead, that has at some point been attributed to these many, and there are more, I just didn't put them all here, but these many different aliases, your fraud flag got to go up. Your con man flag got to go up. Your shyster, your charlatan flag, red flag got to go up. If it doesn't, I got a bridge. I got a bridge in Detroit to sell you. You dig what I'm saying? While Fard claimed to be from Afghanistan, various theories suggest he was a white man or of South Asian descent, sometimes identified with this specific name, right? And that specific name was Wali Muhammad, right? At some point. Let's continue. Well, let me go back. If we look here, Wally Dodd Ford, right, which we know was part of his name, was Wallace Dodd Ford, 1924 marriage record. Wally Dodd Ford, this is his mugshot, 1926, taken in San Francisco. It's a mugshot. It's a real mugshot, right? Of who later became known or called himself Wallace Fard Muhammad, aka the founder of the Nation of Islam, exposing the master fraud, right? And we'll talk about this article soon. Wallace Fard Muhammad, born Wallace Dodd Fard, was reported to have a white mother named Beatrice who had British roots. His father was identified as Zarad Fard, a New Zealander of East Indian descent, not a black man, right? Not a black man. Historical records suggest Fard was born himself in New Zealand in 1891 and often lied about his origins. So there's always been a question of where he was actually born, where he actually originated from, because he never gave the same origins based on any of these aliases. They always have a different place of origin when anybody would ask him where he's from. He has a different place of origin on his marriage record, 1924, a different place of origin on his prison record, a different place of origin on the census, and he has a different place of origin on the nation of, in his histories, in the Nation of Islam, in their recordation of it, right? So the con man flag has to be raised. Has to be. Let's continue. But we're talking about proving, is he a white man? And Farad's accounts, he was born in Mecca on the trip of Quraysh to wealthy parents. We know that not to be the case, right? Some speculate that Farad was born in Saudi Arabia. According to Farad, he was born in the holy city of Mecca, where his mother was a Russian Jewish white woman. How many black men you know were marrying Russian Jewish white women in the city of Mecca? Right? Anywhere from between 1891 to 1913. We know most of us come from the Israelite paradigm. I consider that you are who your mother and your father is, but most of us understand that you carry your father's nationality. You carry your father's race. You are who your father is, right? That doesn't mean you disregard your mother's race or nationality, in which we know his was a Russian Jewish white woman. But someone, please find me in history, coming from the city of Mecca, a Russian Jewish white woman married to a Negro or Black African or mulatto. One mixed with white or black, right? Or an Arab. Show me this Arab man, right? No one has seen a picture of Zarad Farad, who supposedly was his father of East Indian descent. In 1913, he reportedly migrated to America and settled in Portland, Oregon. According to reports, he was arrested for numerous crimes, such as alcohol and drug possession. Now, what I have here, I went over this in my last presentation, but this is an article in the Muhammad Speaks. This is, of course, the Nation of Islam's propaganda machine, right? Muhammad Speaks. And he talks about, this is Elijah Muhammad, and he says, beware of phony claims. And he puts $100,000 prize up to prove the charge that this man, right, is not this man. I'm going to show y'all something too. It's wild. But that this guy right here, y'all take a good look at his face. And I'm not just talking about facial recognition, but let's look at what they're telling us, right? This is the actual front page of the article of the Muhammad Speaks. When Muhammad says, look, prove that this guy is this guy. Because Elijah Muhammad's claim is that this is a phony. And this guy is not this guy. Let's continue. Exposing the master fraud. In 2025, new research by Kevin Morris and Anton Beatty shows undoubtedly identifies Wallace D. Farad. Beatty and Morris uncovered a manifest revealing that someone named Wali Dad Khan or Wali Dad Khan traveled from Hong Kong to San Francisco in 1907 on the SS Coptic. Wali Dad Khan was associated with tamale vendors, and Farad was known to later use the name Wali Dad. This is Beatty 2025, pages 9 through 16. Review of W.D. Farad's First Footsteps in America. Beatty 2025, pages 17 through 45. So now we have another alias of Wali Dad Khan, who supposedly was on a ship manifest, right? Whose name showed up there on this ship, coming from the city of Hong Kong to San Francisco in 1907. This is important right here, right? Because we're going to validate this. We're going to validate this, that this guy, Wali Dad Khan, is Master Farad Muhammad, or becomes later known as Wali Farad Muhammad. Watch this. And so if you look over here, in 1907, the Essex Coptic was built in 1881. It operated under the White Star Line, opening in a new service from Southampton via Cherbourg to New York. This historic vessel, known for her earlier Pacific service, was part of a fleet transition during that period, right? So we know that this ship was at sail during this time, right? But we're still going to validate this manifest, right? Let's continue. In 1913, he reportedly migrated to America and settled in Portland, Oregon. According to reports, he was arrested for numerous crimes, such as alcohol and drug possession. That's this guy, clearly right here, who I'm going to show and prove that it's this guy. The same one Elijah Muhammad says that it wasn't, and offered up this phony $100,000 reward for that he was never going to pay. But watch this. We're going to watch this, right? So in 1926, it was recorded that Fard himself served a prison sentence in San Quentin Correctional Facility. After his release, he moved to Detroit, Michigan on July 4, 1930. He stated that he resided in America to free Black Americans from their form of living, as it was half slave and half free, right? So when you look at this actual prison record from San Quentin Correctional Facility, right? I want y'all guys to notice something, right? You see here, it says Los Angeles. His place that he originated, right, or that he was living at the time, it says Oregon, right? June 12, 1926, right? Now look, it says W.D. Farad, or W.D. Farad. So we know who this guy is. It says something else right here, but you can't read it, but I'll bring you guys back to that later, right? But this gentleman here is this gentleman here, who I'm going to show is this gentleman here, right? So again, we have Wallace Farad Muhammad, who was born Wallace Dodd Farad, or W.D. Farad. Here he is, W.D. Farad. That's him. Make no mistake about it. That's your founder of the Nation of Islam. This gentleman right here, you can see it right here. All you do is shave his hair off. It's the same dude right here. But we're not just going to go off liquor ship. Let's continue.
Hey, Elder Yarah, listen, man.
Yes, sir.
You can help me out, because I don't know if I'm right about this. I don't know if I'm experiencing cognitive dissonance because of what the nation then meant to Black people. But I keep finding myself wanting to hit you with that Will Smith and the Muhammad movie. Do not speak ill of the prophet. I'm like, why do I got the urge to say this, man?
Hey, listen, man. Since I've been doing this, bro, listen, trust me, I'm on the lookout for Brother Baines. Trust me, I'm on the lookout for good Brother Baines. You know, the one who set up Malcolm.
No
you know
doubt.
He was Malcolm X handler. So I'm looking out for Brother Baines, man. Trust me. He's still out there.
I just had to ask that question, man. I'm like, man, I'm experiencing cognitive dissonance in real time. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Hey, man, it's all good. So watch this. All of these things are important, so I need y'all to really follow me. So this is from the Berkeley Institute for Islamic Studies, right? This is not Elder Yarah's source. I want everybody to say this. Everything that I showed, this is not Elder Yarah's source. I'm just synthesizing the information so you guys can see it, that it's out there, because there are some scholars that are out there that are doing it. But in our community, No one's taking this position, right? I will say this. I did stumble a day or so ago when Garfield Reed actually did a presentation with some people who are actually doing the work. And I think he had this guy on here, but I didn't find that until a couple of days ago. So shout out to Garfield because he did bring out some of this information. But sometimes when it's not coming from our own people, sometimes it can fall on a deaf ear in this community, right? And it still may, even though it's coming from me. But I want the people to know that this information is there, especially in this day and age. It's important, right? So they have an article, right? Did W.D. Farad have a son with Pearl Allen? A century-old mystery solved, right? And it's by Bilal Muhammad. He writes extensively in regards to W.D. Farad, right? And so he wrote this article January 14th, 2024. Let me see if I can share my screen so you guys can see it a little bit. Right. So yeah, there it is. It should be sharing, right?
Yeah, I think so.
You sharing? Okay, great.
You're scrolling up and down, right?
Yep. So I want people to see this article, right? Because it's very important that y'all get an understanding of the sources that are out there, because people are going to say, oh man, it's just the white man that's putting this on the prophet Farad, Farad Muhammad, and just want to take us down and all of that, but this article is not written by a white man. Go look who Bilal Muhammad is. Go look him up. He's just a brother that's doing the research, right? But look at it. Let's look at it and what he says. It's from the Berkeley Institute for Islamic Studies, right? This is the source. He says in 1914, Fred died, right? Remember I told you he was going to validate those aliases. This was one of them, right? So this is from Berkeley Institute, right? So in 1914, Fred died, whom Bilal Muhammad identifies, says known now as W.D. Farad. We know that's who this gentleman is. With all those aliases, we know that's who he is, right? Watch this. But the key point in this point in this discussion is Elder YARAH going to show and prove that this is a white man and not a mulatto. Because I know y'all having that argument and y'all having that discussion, right? I'm going to get to that. I've forgotten. So he says, briefly married Pearl Allen. Just over 5 months later, on September 23rd, 1914, Farad and Pearl Allen divorced. The divorce petition suggests that Farad objected to Pearl's lifestyle, namely her drinking, partying, or frequenting of other men. Less than a year later, Pearl married Tony Campagna on July 19, 1915, and on September 11, 1915, she gave birth to a son named Donald Lloyd Campagna, right? So there was at one point in time, Farad thought that this Donald Lloyd Campagna that was born to Tony and his ex-wife, Tony Campagna and his ex-wife, Pearl Allen, may have been his son, right? But he found out later that that was not the case, right? But let me go down here and talk about the mysterious origins of W.D. Farad, right? It says, for a nation of Islam adherents, W.D. Farad, known to them as Master Farad Muhammad, was from Mecca, Arabia. His father said to have been a black-skinned man, and his mother was said to have been a white-skinned woman. Farad was perhaps light-skinned, and researchers have theorized that he may have been white, right? So when we get this, he may have been a black-skinned man, that only comes from the Nation of Islam. There's no other records to prove this in any way, form, or fashion. He's not listed on anything legally, no legal documentation that he was a black-skinned man or an African or a Negroid. Nowhere. You're not going to find it anywhere other than hearsay from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This is the only reference to him being a black-skinned man. because the people that met him, they don't even describe him as a black-skinned man. They say he looked Pakistani or he looked like a white man. But let's continue. Farad was perhaps light-skinned, and researchers have theorized that he may have been white. He may have been white, a New Zealander, Arabian, Persian, Turkish, Syrian, Syrian, Indian, Afghan, Greek, Jewish, Jamaican, Bosnian, Algerian, Albanian, and African American. And if he was an African American, we would have called him a mulatto. But there's no evidence of any of that, right? What complicates things is that Farad covered his tracks well, giving different origin stories to different people, and he would eventually disappear without a trace in 1934. Maybe he did actually get on that mother plane, but I won't do that. The extent, I'll show you where he wasn't. But the extent photographs of Farad also make him appear racially ambiguous. In other words, because of his actual complexion, in the photographs that we have of him, you couldn't tell if he was a white man or a mulatto. But they knew when he wasn't a black-skinned man. We know the photographs don't give us any of that. That only comes from the mouth of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Other than that, no photographs, nothing else that we know of him, nothing that was taken. Nobody that ever met him ever said that, except for Master Farad Muhammad. We got to think about that, right? The national origins of W.D. Farad will help researchers understand where he got his unique religious teachings from. The NOI theology is partly original and partly a smorgasbord of different influences. In his book, Finding W.D. Farad, Morrow, which is Andrew Morrow, or Dr. Andrew Morrow, is a PhD researcher and scholar who writes about W.D. Farad and his mysterious origins, explores possible connections that Farad's teachings have with esoteric forms of Shiaism. However, even if this was the case, does that definitely prove that Farad came from a Shia Muslim or Alawite or Ismailia or Druze or Al-Haq part of the world? Or could it be that Farad found these doctrines during his sojourn in America in the same way that he studied the Jehovah's Witness? Because at one point we know he was listed as a Jehovah's Witness. Researchers also have no consensus on Farad's intentions. Excuse me. On Farad's intentions. Was he a con man? Was he an agent? COINTELPRO? Right? Trying to stir schisms or divisions and dissent? Or was he genuinely calling people to salvation? None who directly heard W.D. Farad preach ever noted an identifiable accent. According to a 1935 article in the Chicago Daily Tribune, Farad may have known Arabic. Elijah Muhammad claimed that Farad's Arabic handwriting was masterful, and his son Akbar Muhammad claimed to have seen Farad's Arabic writing. In Binion's 1938 article, he says that Farad read directly from an Arabic-only copy of the Quran. Somebody please tell me, from the time that we know he was in San Francisco to the time he was in San Quentin, which he probably could have learned because he was there about 3 or 4 years. He could have learned Arabic while in prison in San Quentin. He ain't got nothing else to do but time to read. So it's possible he learned it there. But in 2013, researcher Paul Guthrie sent Bilal Muhammad, this author of this article, a copy of 2 Nation of Islam membership cards issued by Farad in Detroit in 1932. He told me that they were taken at NOI exhibit. They include Arabic handwriting, purportedly from Farad, which may be the best extant physical evidence. However, several languages use Arabic script, and we cannot be sure that these samples were written directly by W.D. Farad, right? So here they are. Y'all can take a good look at them, right? Y'all can take a good look at them, right? And this is the Arabic handwriting that they're talking about right here, right? Let's go down a little further. Here's another card, more Arabic writing that they claim Farad actually wrote himself, right? So it's important that I show y'all this article, because I'm going to show y'all something else later on. It's going to trip you out. It says, Malaya learned from her grandfather that Pearl was originally from Bly, Oregon. So let me go back up, right? So it talks about the companion connection, right? So we already know that there's no evidence that this companion guy was actually his son or he descended from there. But watch this. As Morrow notes in his book, there's detailed information about the descendants of Donald L. Campagna, and many of these individuals are still alive. He said, I curiously follows the trail, and I came in contact with two members of Campagna family. They still live in Oregon, where W.D. Farad and Pearl were married. So again, validating the fact that we know Farad Muhammad was somewhere at some point of time living in Oregon. That's important, right? Because on his arrest card or his prison card, it talks about him being or at some point living in Oregon. So we can actually place him there, this W.D. Farad, right? And it says, while Farad was seemingly a nomad, spending time in California, Oregon, Michigan, Illinois, and elsewhere, Pearl's family remained in her indigenous homeland. They lived in Colquhoun in Klamath Falls. He says, my main contact, Malaya Campagna, is the great-granddaughter of Donald Lloyd Campagna, who had been the new husband of Pearl Allen, who was the ex-wife of W.D. Farad. She was incredibly helpful and cooperative, and she was driven by curiosity about her own origins. She is interested in her family background, and she previously asked elders of the community about them. Malaya is close with her grandfather, who was also named Donald Lloyd Campagna. He is the son of James Warren Campagna, who was the son of Donald Lloyd Campagna, who died in 1983, who was the son of Pearl Allen, who was the ex-wife of W.D. Farad, who died in 1960, and shortly after her divorce with W.D. Farad. I have to read this to you guys because later on, I'm going to show you something that's going to make you scratch your head. So Malaya learned from her grandfather that Pearl was originally from Bly, Oregon, right? That's that connection again, which is an unincorporated community in Klamath County. Pearl was married several times. And according to Malaya's grandfather, Pearl would still party and frequent different men while she was married. Malaya told me that alcoholism runs in her family, which corroborates with the information in Farad's divorce petition. According to Malaya, her family is unsure of the identity of the biological father of the deceased John Lloyd Campagna. So now there's a question, according to their family, of the biology, or who's the biological father of Donald Lloyd Campagna, which Farad thought was his son, or could have been his son. The latter siblings were apparently adopted out, and they go by different names. Malaya had read briefly about a W.D. Farad, but she did not know that he was the founder of a modern religion. I spoke to her about Farad, my research, and his relevance to civil rights and Black history. Through her grandfather, Malaya kindly sent me the following two pictures of the original Donald Lloyd Campagna, the son of Pearl Allen, who Wallace Farad thought may have been his son. Now, why would he think that this man could have been his son? So you mean no dominant features, no dominant traits, nowhere. He thought that this man was his son. And here he is again, the same guy who he thought, Wallace Farad thought that he was his son or could have been his son. And y'all remember this face because I'm going to show y'all something at the end of this presentation. Y'all remember his face, right? Please just remember his face, right? And so for comparison purposes, here are the police mugshots and Detroit Free Press photos of W.D. Farr, right? Now, y'all can look at these pictures. This is him when he's arrested in San Francisco. This is him, his head shaved. He's still in prison in San Quentin, right? But we do know that this guy is W.D. Farr. We know that. We know that's who this is, right? And if you look at this side profile here, remember this? The younger profile picture that everyone shows, that the Nation of Islam always shows of Wallace D. Farad, that side profile. Remember, they only show that side profile of him. But I found the second photo that they have of him, the second painting of him that they have of him. I'm going to show y'all that in a minute. This is only an older version of that side profile. Just let's keep going. So this is what this guy says. He says, upon my inspection, I did not find any obvious resemblance to Farr, whose wavy hair and pointed ears are distinctive features, right? The following is a photograph of Wallace Maxford, who was Farr's son through Hazel Barton. If Companion was the son of Farr, then Wallace Maxford would have been his half-brother. That's what this author says. Y'all hold me. I know what it sounds like. It sounds contradictory, Black Sage. It sounds contradictory. Y'all just hold on. Y'all hold on. I got you. Right? So this is a picture of Wallace Maxford, and I'll show it to you again. He's the known son of Wallace Dodd Ford, the son of Wallace Dodd Ford and Hazel Barton, this was taken in 1941. And this is the actual son we know of Wallace D. Farad, the founder of Nation of Islam. This is his son with Hazel Barton. That's his son. That's his son. Now, either he has the weakest genes ever, or the mother or here, Hazel Barton and Pearl Allen's genes are so much more stronger than Wallace D. Farad that none of these look like possible Black men. Not even down to your son, nowhere. But I'm not stuck on the looker ship. We're going to move forward, right? You're going to move forward. They talk about DNA testing. They can't do the DNA test, and basically what it says, since we cannot come to certain by studying these photographs, a DNA test is warranted, right? He says you can't even rely on looking at the photographs for certainty. Whose son is who's not whose son. He said a DNA test is warranted. He said, I bought a saliva test kit from 23andMe for Malaya's living grandfather, Donald L. Campagna, the great-grandson of Pearl. I also bought a kit for Malaya. If Donald Campagna really is the great-grandson of W. Farad, then we would have approximately 12.5% of his DNA, give or take. Since we are fairly sure that Farad came from outside of North America, and since it's perhaps likely that he came from a Muslim country, then a DNA test of his alleged son should show some non-Caucasian ethnicity. Farad may have evaded the paper trail, but he cannot escape DNA. Here are the results. Unfortunately, Donald Campagna misspelled his first name, but that does not change the results. The U in the second table below is Malaya, right? So here is Donald Campagna's DNA, who Wallace Farad thought may have been his son. right? So they're looking at, indigenous American. This is the daughter, or this is the great granddaughter over here, almost 69%. Over here, you see that this Donald companion dude is 56.4 European, right? Southern European, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, broadly Southern, Northwest European, British and Irish, Scandinavian, broadly Northwestern, Ashkenazi, Jewish, Eastern European, broadly European, East Asian. So there's no doubt, right? There's no doubt in our minds that Donald Companion is a whole European, right? His European DNA, right? Here's the problem. So let's keep going, right? You can see it here, right? That's his DNA here versus the great-granddaughter, right? So here's her again here. This is him again, right? You see basically European or indigenous American, right? He says, as you can see, Diane Lord, the great grandson of the pro, is almost entirely Native American. And that's what this is showing right here. Right? Right here. He's almost Native American, right? That's what he shows. He says, and European. He has 1.1 East Asian, 0.1 Sub-Saharan, 0.1 Western Asian and North African, and 1% unassigned. Therefore, there's a strong possibility that Donald Companion is not the descendant of W.D. Farad. We see no significant DNA from Arabia, Africa, Turkey, Central Asia, India, or other areas that have been connected to Farad. Instead, Donald Lloyd Companion may actually be the son of Tony Companion, who Pearl married shortly before his birth. Tony was Italian and Donald Companion is 19.7% Southern European, which includes 18.4 Italian. Pearl herself was part white, or at least identified that way. It is possible that Pearl chose to marry Tony because she knew that he was likely the father of the child. There are other reasons to believe that the original Donald Lloyd Companion was not the son of W.D. Farad. Firstly, according to 1914 newspaper article, it appears that Farad and Pearl only lived together in Farad's home for 2 weeks during their marriage. Since there were other men in Pearl's life, Farad is just a candidate among others. Secondly, according to extant records, Donald Lloyd Companion was born almost a year after Farad and Pearl were divorced. We have no strong reason at this point to place his birth earlier. Thirdly, Farad made an effort to reconnect with his son Wallace Maxford upon his departure, and he would even write to and then married Hazel Barton, which I showed, while he lived in Chicago. However, there's no ethnic record of any correspondence between Farad and Pearl after the divorce, nor any correspondence between Farad and Donald. Lastly, we see no obvious resemblance between the two, right? There is, of course, the possible scenario that W.D. Farad was instead white, and he had a child with Pearl, Allen, that he did not know or care about, and that the birth date of the child was fabricated, and that the child inherited his mother's appearance. However, given the research that places the origin of Farad as somewhere in the Eastern Hemisphere, and given an aforementioned doubts, I believe the scenario is highly unlikely, right? Then he goes on and he gives a conclusion. The elusive W.D. Farad escapes detection once again. Outside of exhuming Wallace Maxford's grave, which can only occur with the express permission of his next of kin, who no longer exists, or the cemetery itself, which has a legal responsibility to protect the peaceful repose of your remains, researchers have no access to W.D. Farad's DNA, right? This research has at least closes a chapter in Farad's life for good, right? So again, approximately 16 years, I'll skip down, 16 years after his marriage with Pearl, W.D. Farad would found the Nation of Islam in Detroit, Michigan. He gave Native Americans an honored position as a member of the Aboriginal peoples of the earth alongside Black people. Farad even called Caucasians white devils, a term he may have learned from Native Americans. Then he says, I heard further documents pertaining to W.D. Farad on Earth. And I'm going to tell you why this is important, that I had to show you this article, right? I had to show you this article about this guy whom Bilal Muhammad, the author of this article, doesn't necessarily, he can neither confirm nor deny that this is not Farad Muhammad's son. Can neither confirm or deny it, right? DNA didn't help him, but y'all remember this face. Y'all remember this face, right? So let me go back to my presentation so we can continue, right? Y'all should be seeing it. So that was this article. So let's go, right? So again, this is what we talked about, right? Did he have a son? So here you can see, again, this is W.D. Farad. We know that he was living in Oregon. Here it is here, right? We talked about that. Let's continue, right? This is a picture of, I think this is Hazel Barton, right? In roughly 1920, she married Wally Ford, aka Fred Dodd, aka Wallace Farad, right? You can see that in Bailey, Anton, and Kevin Moore's W.D. Farad's, right, First Footsteps in America, The Trial in Oregon, USA, W.D. Farad Research Society, 2025. Morrow, or John Andrew Morrow and Bilal Muhammad, right? I just read from Bilal Muhammad's article, W.D. Farad, the man, the mystery and the myth behind the Nation of Islam. These are where the sources come from. In 1925, it says Miss Hazel Barton, age 30, of 4522 Tolan War, Eagle Rock, was arrested for bootlegging. Prohibition officers arrested her at her home on Sunday and found a cache of 90 gallons of mash, a gallon of alcohol, and a fine steel in full operation. Barton was arraigned, was pending bail. See the Los Angeles Evening Post record, Monday, January 26, 1925, page 9. C. Beatty, Anton, and Kevin Morris. W.D. Farad's first, that's the book here that I mentioned up here, so that's what this is, right? So in the 1960s, Hazel Barton was listed as a wife of Wally Ford in FBI reports. See pages 6 through 9. She was interviewed by Ed Montgomery, too, in the San Francisco Examiner, July 28, 1963, pages 1 and 21. In 1977, July 1st, Hazel Barton died, aged 83, in Long Beach, Los Angeles County, California, USA, right? And then you can see the sources and the references there. And this is the article based on her arrest record, and this is who she was. I'll say this, even though Wallace Farad, if you want to say he was a black man, he loved him some other kind of black women. I mean, white women, I should say. We ain't seen no black women. They just all been white. But that's neither here nor there. And this is the product of that marriage with this woman, Hazel Barton. This is their son, Wallace Max Ford, right? We know this was Wallace Farad Muhammad's son, right? So look, this is a painting of W.D. Farad, who they claim Allah in person, and this was in the temple in Detroit.
Elder YARAH, you gotta stop this, man.
Hey, bro,
you gotta stop this, man.
Hey, bro, I'm not making it up, bro.
What are you doing, man? Oh, hey. Elder, listen, man. Hey, I'm not feeling good about this, man.
Hey, look, I told y'all. Listen. Elijah Muhammad came out in that article, said, I bet you $100,000 that this guy wasn't that other guy. That same picture they always show with him with the side profile holding the Quran.
Oh, man.
But right in that temple in Detroit, this is the picture of him, W.D. Farad, Allah in person. This is from that temple. This picture right here. Look at him. Now you're gonna tell me nobody sees a resemblance of this guy and his son?
Hey, real quick. Listen, oh man, that's devastating, man.
Hey, man, I didn't take none of these photos. I didn't create none of these paintings, none of that. I'm just showing you what's out there.
The opinions and perspectives shared by our guests and debaters on Paradigm Shift TV 314 and the Versus series are their own. They do not necessarily represent the views of the platform. We support open dialogue and critical thought, but encourage viewers to think for themselves.
Hey, man, I had to hit the disclaimer.
Hey,
man.
I love that, man. I love what you did.
I had to hit the disclaimer. Like, listen, I'm looking at this picture that you say was in the mosque, and I'm looking at the picture from the newspaper, and then I'm looking at the supposed son. Hey, bro, that's devastating.
Hey, bro, listen. They got to come and tell us why this picture of this guy, who they claim is Allah in person, who they call W.D. FARAD, which Elijah Muhammad kept trying to say in 1965, I'll give you $100,000 that this guy ain't this guy. Hey, bro. Look, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. But we know that's his son. And this guy looked like that guy. Now, I ain't one for lookership. I'm just telling you what they show, what it is, bro. Right? And so, man, you can see it. This was taken in 1941, public domain. Wallace Dodd Ford, the son of Wallace Dodd Ford and Hazel Barton, or Wallace Max Ford. And later on, his name, watch this, his name was Wallace Max Ford. And it says, formerly Wallace Dodd Ford. Do you know why his name was changed to Wallace Max Ford? Because his mother, Hazel Barton, right? His mother, Hazel Barton, said, I had to change his name because I was afraid that his father would use his name as an alias and steal his identity, his own son's identity, because he was a con man. This is what Hazel Barton says, right? She said, so I had to change his name to Wallace Max Ford so he wouldn't mess up his identity and mess our son's name up out here in the world. So she changed his name.
Oh, man.
That's how his name became Wallace Max Ford.
Wow.
So, hey, I'm almost done, man.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Right? So, hey, man. So, Wallace D. Fard, the founder of the Nation of Islam, had a son, Wallace Dodd Ford. We see that with his out-of-wedlock partner, Hazel Barton. She later changed, here I'm saying, she later changed his name to Wallace Max Ford to prevent W.D. Fard from assuming his identity and using his legal documents. Although one photograph of Wallace Max Ford was known to exist, a couple more have now resurfaced thanks to research. Learn more about the true history of Master Fard Muhammad. And you can find this from this source, from John Andrew Morrow, who's a PhD scholar, from the forthcoming book, and Bilal Muhammad, W.D. Farad, The Man, the Mystery, The Myth Behind the Nation of Islam, to be published by Academica Press, Washington, D.C. and London in 2025. Please subscribe to the author's website, John Andrew Morrow. And he talks a lot about it. And like I said, me personally, just 2 days ago, I saw him do an interview, these two gentlemen do an interview on Garfield's channel. So if y'all want to go see what they say, go Garfield's channel. I think he did it maybe about a year or so ago. He had these two gentlemen on talking about this particular book. But the boy's mama had to change his name because Wallace D. Farrar had a habit of assuming identities, man. If your con artist and red flag don't go up, something wrong with you. So the tidings, March 30th, the tidings of Friday, March 30th, 1923, page 11. Mr. and Mrs. Wally Ford and their son Wallace are mentioned in the Tidings newspaper. Now, this is a newspaper, right? Watch this. And I'm just connecting these two to verify it, right? Because we got to verify information. So here's a newspaper article, not just somebody giving a quote. Let's tie it together, right? So this is from the Tidings newspaper. It says on Sunday afternoon and evening, Mr. and Mrs. J. L. Velasco entertained a group of friends and relatives that in a couple of machines motored down from Los Angeles and very unexpectedly called upon them. Those forming the party were Mr. and Mrs. Wally Ford and their son Wallace, Mr. and Mrs. Thomas E. Woods and son Mr. and Mrs. E.J. McDonald, Velasco Jr., and so on, Bobby McDonald. It says the McDonald couples, both seniors and juniors, are members of St. Mary's Church in Los Angeles and sang some beautiful religious music while at the Velasco's home. Wow, this is important because now we know that Wally Ford, Mr. and Mrs. Wally Ford, and their son Wallace did exist outside of this source. They did exist. Here they are mentioned in this news article here, right? And this is how you verify that these people actually existed and they had a connection to each other. And if you go back, let me see if I can do it real quick. I want to show y'all something. Right here. Remember that article mentioned that they were from Los Angeles? Here's Wallace Ford again, Los Angeles on his arrest record, and also Oregon. So we know he's been placed in both these places where we know this article says that this guy, who is this guy, and his son were with their mother, his mother, in this particular article right here. Right? So it's the Tidings newspaper, March 30th, 1923, page 11. Right? Now watch this. Highland Park boy drowns while serving in the Coast Guard. This is important to know. Right? It says, word was received here last Friday, August 7th, of the death of another Highland Park youth in the service of his country. Wallace M. Ford, which was Wallace Max Ford, 21-year-old Coast Guardsman of 4776 Hub Street, died at sea last August 3rd while on duty in the Atlantic Ocean area. He graduated at Franklin High School in the winter class of 1940, and he is the son of Mr. and Mrs. C.O. Elevazier of the Hub Street address. Right? Now, ask yourself again, how is Wallace M. Ford the son of Mr. and Mrs. C.O. Elevazier, right? Which is a Jewish name, right? Who are these people? Right? When we already know Wallace M. Ford is the son of Wally Ford and son in Hazel Barton. Another potential alias that they were going by. This is why it's been so hard to track this guy down. Now watch this. It says young Ford enlisted in the Coast Guard last November and received his training in Washington, Oregon. There go Oregon again, North Carolina, and Virginia. At the time of his death, which is believed to be by drowning, he had a rating of seaman second class while attending Franklin. Ford was a member of the school's ROTC unit and was prominent in school activities. With his death, the Highland Park and North Los Angeles communities now have 24 men and one young lady in the casualty list, 11 dead, 2 wounded, and 11 missing. Again, connection Highland Park, Northeast Los Angeles. We know Wallace Ford and his family was in Los Angeles. We know they had a son named Wallace M. Ford, 21. We know again, here's another Oregon connection right here. He trained in Oregon. But how is he the son of Mr. and Mrs. C.O. Evelazier? Another alias. Watch this. Let me go down here. Y'all see this guy right here? Wallace Ford, right? This is a yearbook picture from that Franklin High School, right? From that Highland Park High School right here, right? This is what they're talking about. Let me go back and read. Here it is. He graduated at Franklin High School in the winter class of 1941. Here's his yearbook picture. Wallace Ford. Where is he? Right here. Right here. Y'all see? Them ears is almost a giveaway. In that hairline, that's this guy right here. Right? You see that? This picture right here was taken in 1941, a year after he graduated high school. That's him. We got to verify and validate these people. Here he is right here, right? So he's in the right place at the right time, the right name. There he is, right? It all lines up, right? Now watch this. Here's another picture of Wallace M. Ford, but it's dark. You can barely make it out. Now here's where it get interesting, family. Elder Yara, get to it, right? What we have is Wallace M. Ford's birth certificate, right? We have Wallace M. Ford's birth certificate. Remember we told you that his mother changed his name to Wallace Max Ford because his father had named him Wallace Dodd Ford, and she did not want FARAD to assume his identity or to use his name in an illegal way. But look what we have here, right? There's the mother's name, Hazel Barton, right? She's listed as white. And here's Wallace Ford's name, or AKA Wallace Fard Muhammad, or Wallace Dodd Muhammad, right? This is their child's name. Here's the father's name. Y'all see it where it says right there? In Los Angeles, California, right? They have Hazel Barton, the mother, listed here is a white woman. And guess how Wallace Ford is listed? Guess what he's listed as? Not an African American, not an Indian, but a white man. This is an official document on their son's birth certificate. They list Wallace Fard, or AKA Wallace Fard Muhammad, as a whole white man. Now, y'all can go argue with these records if y'all want to. Don't argue with Elder Yara. That's his mother, listed as white, Hazel Barton again, and there's the father, Wallace Ford, listed again as a whole white man. I'm not making it up. It's still out there, right? Still out there. Go check it out for yourselves. Watch this. This is our first nail that we know Wallace Ford was legally listed as a white man. Right? Now watch this. Violence, dissension hit the Black Muslims, right? This is from a newspaper article, right, by Ed Montgomery. And look what he says. He says, Ed Montgomery writes, and this is from the San Francisco Examiner. And I believe this was in 1965, San Francisco Examiner. Look at what he says. Violence, dissension hit the Black Muslims. Ed Montgomery writes, Elijah Muhammad and his Black Muslims, let me see. me see if I can see it a little bit better right here. It says convened to Chicago yesterday, right? For the birthday of Wallace Farad, a white man who posed as a Negro Wallace Farad, a white man who posed as a Negro, right? And founding a black supremacy cult in 1931, I should say. Not 1901, but 1931. They're talking about the Nation of Islam. That's not Elder Yarah's information.
But Elder Yarah, where did this information come from, bro? Is this information coming from the devil? And if it's coming from the devil, can it be trusted?
Well, I'm going to go back to this. I don't know why the devil would list him as a white man on his son's birth certificate, and he wasn't. Why would the devil give a black man white privilege? Because that's all that's going to give him. It doesn't make sense.
Damn. Yeah, so much for that. Hey, continue, brother. Continue.
No doubt. I'm almost done. So this is what they know. Now, I do get it. The FBI lie, they put stuff on us all the time. They do. Hey, listen, I'm the first to admit that. You know what I'm saying? But the FBI, they didn't put this on the birth certificate. Because this is before the founding of the Nation of Islam. He wasn't even on their radar. When his son was born, Wallace died Ford and had his name, and his mom changed his name to Wallace M. Ford. He wasn't even on their radar at this time when he was born. This right here says the father was what I think he said may have been 28, and the mother was 25 at the time. I think that's it. But they're both listed as white on their son's birth certificate. Why would they do that? Don't make sense. Unless he was actually a white man. And here we go again. Another corroborating story. He's a white man. Let's continue. And this is it here. I just put it up so y'all can really see it, right? So I can read it really good. So this is what I just read from right here. But I just wanted to make it bigger so y'all can see it. So this is from the San Francisco Examiner, Sunday, February 28, 1965. That's what I'm reading from. And I'm reading again. He said, Elijah Muhammad and his black Muslims convened in Chicago yesterday to observe the birthday of Wallace Farad, a white man who posed as a Negro in founding the black supremacy cult in 1931. That's all he says. And look, and if you read through this article, he ain't even going in on black folks. He just said, hey, look, this is what they doing. You see? Here it is. Same article. Muhammad, whose true name, he's talking about Elijah Muhammad, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, is Elijah Poole. And I ain't gonna even go into that, but it says alias Galen Bogans first met Farad on a street corner in Detroit in 1931. See, most people only know Elijah Poole as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but he also had an alias that he went by, and his Honorable Elijah Muhammad was also known as Galen Bogans. Hey, man, I'm going to leave this alone because that's not my argument here. It says he met Farad on a street corner in Detroit in 1931. Farad, then known as Ford, was itinerant, turban-clad silk peddler. He wore a turban by day and the leader of a voodoo doll cult by night. How do we know that to have been substantiated? Because at one point, he was arrested or brought in for questioning that one of his voodoo cult members had performed a ritual killing on a gentleman. I brought this out in my last presentation. But since Farad didn't actually do the actual killing himself, he was released. But they were actually doing human sacrifices, ritual sacrifices in this actual cult, in this voodoo cult is what they called it. But this is how he even gets on the FBI radar, because of this ritual voodoo killing. Right? It was Farad who took Elijah, who took Elijah back in the cult, eventually ordained him as a minister in the Black Muslims faith under his name, Elijah Muhammad, Apostle of Allah. And in May of 1933, Farad was arrested by Detroit police after an act of human sacrifice was perpetrated by two cult fanatics. He was ordered to leave the state of Michigan. Elijah Muhammad was there when the ritual cult killing happened, and they forced Wallace Farad out of the state of Michigan because of this ritual cult killings. This is why he's on these people's radar. They were knifing people up and sacrificing. This ain't Yarah's information. Y'all can say the FBI created this and made this up, and there's no, they got a dead body. They know the name of the victims, yo. Y'all pay attention to, man, of the foundations of the stuff y'all be trying to rest y'all head on. All right. Let's continue.
Hey, Elder YARAH, you remember that intro to the Don Illuminati, the Machiavelli album?
Yep.
When he said,
yeah.
Why did y'all get this started? Why did y'all get this man started, man?
Hey, bro. Hey, man. I'm just telling you what the information is, bro. And then again, they come back again. This is another part of that same article. The guy, he continues on, but he talks about, this is the front page, July 28, 1963. This again from the San Francisco Examiner, Black Muslim fake, right? So here, this is Elijah Muhammad, right? He has an assistant here, and he's sitting in front, in the background. This is a portrait of Wallace Farad, right? Whom Elijah Muhammad is now teaching that he is Allah in person. That he is actually Allah on earth. Right? So here, they go in this article. Y'all can look it up. Y'all can still read it. They talk about how it says British father says he is not a Negro. He is a white man masquerading as a Negro. His true name is Wallace Dodd. He was born in New Zealand in February 1901. His father was British, living in New Zealand via Australia, right? We know who he is. It's a white man. Again, there's nothing but the word of this man that ever says that he was a black-skinned man. And if I'm looking at him and you and I looking at him, it wasn't that dark. That don't mean he couldn't have been a mulatto. But ain't too many of us saying that's a black-skinned man. That's a black-skinned man. Cool. That's a black-skinned man for sure. But ain't too many of us saying that's a black-skinned man. Although it could be. Ain't too many of us saying that. Thurgood Marshall. Right? I get that. But no, there's no record of him being anything other than a white man. Not in this article, not in this article, not on his son's birth certificate. These are actual documents, validated documents listing Wallace Ford or Wallace died Ford or Wallace Ford as a white man, aka Master Farad Muhammad. Listing him as a white man, right? Let's continue. Let me show y'all something else. The Muslim prophet is an ex-white, is a white ex-con, right? So it says 5 years before he founded the black Muslim cult, Farad, under the alias of Wally D. Ford, was booked by Los Angeles police for bootlegging. He was listed as a Caucasian born in New Zealand. And here's the arrest record. Here's the arrest card. And guess what? Here's the city, here's the state they say he lived in, Oregon. He was an American, Oregon. And guess what? Guess what? They still list him as a white man. Y'all see that? They still list him as a white man. Why does everybody think he's a white man but you Negroes think? There he is, Wally D. Ford. It's a white man. There it is. Get a good look. I don't know what the issue is with you guys that keep denying it. And look, there's that same guy that Honorable Elijah Muhammad said wasn't Master Wallace Farad. Y'all got to not do this anymore. Y'all got to stop. Let me show y'all something else again. Y'all saw this, right? On the birth certificate of his illegitimate son, or this just means bastard son, right? Wallace died, alias Wallace Farad, was listed as white. I showed y'all this already. So we got two actual documents now listing him credibly as a whole white man on his son's birth certificate and his police arrest record. We know who this is. That's Wallace died Farad. That's Wallace Farad. That's Wallace Ford, aka Wallace Ford. We know that is Master Farad Muhammad, the founder of the Nation of Islam. Stop playing. Y'all shouldn't just not come back with that anymore. I'm gonna just keep it a buck. I got something else for you. I gave you two supporting documents that he's a white man. Right? Watch this. This is United States of America Declaration of Intention, right? From the state of Oregon. There he is again, right? Here he is, Wallace Fred Dodd or Dad. Remember, I showed y'all that, age 24, right? He's a restaurant keeper. Here it is again. What do they declare him? Description is color, what? White. With a dark complexion. That's what they say. But he's a white man. This is his declaration, his entry, his naturalization record into the U.S. An immigration record dated May 26, 1909 for Wally Fred Dodd, restaurateur operating in Eugene, Oregon. It lists him as a white man. What are we doing here? Don't we get lied to enough in this community? We've been getting lied to for years. It's a white man. Y'all go look it up. This ain't Elder Yara's information. This is, hey, the Freedom of Information Act. It's yours to use. I'm almost done. So now we got his declaration, right? With the seal on it, his declaration. Listing him as a whole white man. Here he is on his son's birth certificate, listed as a white man. Here he is listed on the arrest record again as a whole white man. If y'all want to say the FBI fabricated all three of those, y'all go right ahead. And look, that's Wallace Fred died. That's how we know he can't when he came into here before he had all the thousands of aliases that you see. This is just the bottom half of this, so y'all can see the actual seal of the state of Oregon. Right? And look, he says, read it, and I wanted to show this part right here because it says, it is my bona fide intention to renounce forever all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state, or sovereignty, and particularly to Alfonso the 13th, king of what? Spain, of which I am now a citizen subject. I arrived at the port of what? San Francisco, California. So he says he was a citizen of Spain. That's on his entry record into the United States. Listed as a white man. Y'all go read this book right here. An original man, Elijah Muhammad, he talks about Claude Andrew Clegg III. He talks about Farad Muhammad and the true identity of him and the controversy of it. He also agrees, Claude Andrew Clegg III also agrees that Farad Muhammad was a white man. Right? But this is what he said. Remember they kept calling him a dark-skinned white man? It says the version of the story that characterized as far as being of Pakistani descent and having a criminal background seems to have some validity, though neither allegation has been conclusively proven. What seems most remarkable is that Farad seems to have utterly disappeared from the government's, especially the FBI's radar after leaving Detroit in 1933. You know why? Because he stopped using those aliases. You ask him what happened. He said he got deported to Mexico. Or no, he says he got deported. Elijah Muhammad says he got deported. Others said he got kicked out the country. Right? I'm almost done. This is also another good book that talks about Master Farad Muhammad. Again, this is Claude Andrew Clegg. This is another part of it where he continues it, right? We looked at this, right? I showed y'all this. This is the same guy here that when he was brought in of the Order of Islam, Wallace Farad, while in San Francisco, he was brought in for questioning. Same guy. For another ritual killing. This is before he got to Detroit. And then when he got to Detroit, another ritual killing occurred when he was the leader of that particular cult. This is the same man that Elijah Muhammad, this guy, Elijah Muhammad says, ain't this guy. But here's this guy on the wall in that mosque in Detroit. somebody ain't telling the truth. All right. So again, I read you all these, but look, different stages, different points of view, different time, and you can see it's the same guy. Same guy. Right? Y'all can go read. Howard Bratz even suggested that Farad was really Arnold Josiah Ford, a black Jewish rabbi. Because he took on so many identities. And if y'all know who Arnold Josiah Ford is, he's the was the black Hebrew Israelite that went over and met with Haile Selassie. And they claimed that Farad traveled with him, but that Arnold Josiah Ford died in Ethiopia. He came back, and this guy for a time assumed his identity and was calling himself Arnold Josiah Ford because, you know, the original Arnold Josiah Ford had died and passed away. Y'all go read about that in Stephen Norwood's H. Pulley and Eunice May, White Devil, Satanic Jews, the Nation of Islam from Farad to Farrakhan, Modern Judaism. Now, with this, I will say, just for clarity, to me, Eunice G. Pollitt, she is a small hat, and she is not forthcoming about others of color. That's just my opinion, right? That's my opinion.
Understood.
Y'all understand what I'm saying? So y'all take that source with a grain of salt, but it's there, right? But again, we know his father again was Zarad or Zaradad, which is where the Dodd, the D-O-D-D comes from. You often see in his alias, it comes from his father's name, Zaradad, right? In a 1924 marriage record as the father of Wallace Dodd Farrar, also known as Deputy Farrar. We know who this guy is. We just got to stop, right? Again, this is part of that home in Paradise Valley where James Sips was sacrificed to appease the gods of Islam, right? This is before he gets to Detroit, and the same thing happens again. And law enforcement can't connect it to him, but they connect him to this case. But just like in this case, in California, his hands are clean in Detroit. So the Detroit police just told him, get the hell out. Just get out of here. Don't come back. So this was the last time apparently he was seen in Detroit. Right? So Robert Harris, renamed Robert Karim, committed a human sacrifice in order to bring himself closer to Allah. And he's cited from a book, Secret Rituals of the Lost and Foundation of Islam, authored by Wallace D. Farrar Muhammad, which read, the believer must be stabbed through the heart. This quote, as well as another stating, every son of Islam must gain a victory from a devil. That meant killing a white person or sacrificing a white person to the gods of Islam. They just kicked him out because they couldn't tie him down to it. I want to show you one more thing. I could go on and on. I just told y'all about the lady Eunice G. Pollitt. Y'all can go and read this. She actually goes in. It's some valid information in there, but she's a small hat, so I don't put too much stock in what she says. You can either, I just don't trust much of any of what they do. But again, y'all can go to the source right here, EBSCO, right? And look up Wallace Dodd Farrar. Nobody says ever he was a black man, right? I'm just showing this for the source. Y'all can go through it. Nobody ever shows him to be a black man, right? You can get all of this through EBSCO. It's a good source. I mentioned this book several times, right? AI Betty and Kevin Morris in their research on Farad, right? And this is the full photo they took of him from during the time they were dealing with him about this killing. This is the full actual color photo, right? Right here. Right? That's what's on the cover of this book. Right? Let's go down a little bit further. I want to show y'all something else. We know that this is him here. Talks about his Wallace Farad's Muslim's vision. Right? Now, I want y'all to look at this photo. Y'all see this man right here? This is not W.D. Muhammad, or this is not Wallace Farad Muhammad. But I want y'all to take a good look at this photo right here, right? Because I want to show y'all where it gets really, really crazy. And you've probably never heard this in this way. I'm going to show it. But as I began to look at this and study this, I was like, okay, right? Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. This young lady here, I met her, right? Not during this time, but I've met her in her older years. I've actually met this young lady right here who's handing this gentleman right here this cake, a birthday cake, right? I actually met her, right? And her daughter, right? But y'all see this man here, right? Remember I said I was going to show y'all something? Watch this. Y'all see him? Let me show y'all something. Let me go back. See how far I can get back up there. All the way back to the beginning. Show y'all something. Show y'all something. The guy that I just got showing y'all who got the birthday cake. Let me see. Where did it go? Where's the picture go that fast? This is where. Let me go back to this link. Share this tab. Remember I showed y'all this article? And I said, remember this face? This is the face of Donald Loyal Companion, the son of Pearl Allen, the ex-wife of Wallace Farad Muhammad, and that Wallace Farad Muhammad thought that this was his son. Remember? But they go through here and it says inconclusive because they don't really have the DNA. It just may be the guy's son whom he remarried, right? Whose last name was Companion, right? Remember I said, remember this face? Get another good look at it. Show y'all something. Remember that face? Show y'all something. Then I'm almost done. There he is, right there. This guy right here, right? This guy right here is the same guy, the same white guy that Donald companion. And I'm going to show y'all something that's going to trip you out. Y'all see this, right? Right? Let me see if I can play this. Fair use. Can you see this?
I can see it. What really happened to Master Ford?
Yep. Can you hear it?
Nah, I can't hear it.
Oh man, hold on. Let me do where let me go in where you can actually hear it. Let me see if that works.
Muhammad Ali.
What about now?
KHALIL Ali.
Yep, we can hear
I
it.
happened to come across a
You hear it?
photograph that
Yes,
I
sir.
saw her in that
Okay.
blew my mind. I asked Sister KHALIL several questions about the amazing photograph that displayed her presenting a birthday cake to a man she disclosed to me to be Master FARAD Muhammad.
Now, did y'all hear that? This is the young lady that I know. This is KHALIL Ali. And if y'all don't know who she is, she was the ex-wife of Muhammad Ali. They have children together.
Now, hold on now.
Hey, bro.
Hold on now. Hold on. When Muhammad Ali joined the nation, wouldn't Master Ford supposed to have been long gone?
Hey, bro, listen. I'm telling y'all what's about to happen, right? This is KHALIL Ali. This is Muhammad Ali's ex-wife, right? This brother here, Shabazz, is he's interviewing her. I met her personally. I lived in Illinois, in the suburb of Chicago in Park Forest, and she lived a couple of doors down from me. So I met her quite a few times. Her daughter, the same people that I showed y'all in that photo, she's the one that's handing that gentleman that cake. What I'm telling you is they call his real name is Donald Companion. But watch what she says. I showed y'all in the photograph. Watch what she says about the person she's handing that cake to in that photograph. Watch what she says. I just want y'all to listen to this. Just listen.
Warning, the following segment of this documentary could blow your mind. Please have a psychiatric nurse on standby.
I love it.
Brother Omar, you there?
Yes, I am.
Assalamu alaikum. You're on the phone with Sister KHALIL Ali.
Oh, Sister KHALIL, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam, Brother Omar. How are you?
Oh, I'm all right, sister. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks a lot. I am.
Well, I saw a recent picture of you, and you certainly look marvelous. You look great.
You might need glasses.
No, I got good vision.
Okay.
Hey, Sister this brother's working on a project that he's working on Master FARAD Muhammad, and I was sharing it with him the picture that you had shown me with Brother Abdullah, and I told him that you had said the messenger introduced you to.
Now wait. Y'all see what this says here? This is her. They're interviewing her now. She's handing this cake to whom she claims is Master FARAD Muhammad. Muhammad Abdullah. This is KHALIL Ali, Muhammad Ali's ex-wife, and she's handing the cake to whom she claims she was introduced to him as Master FARAD Muhammad. Now, again, when I showed y'all the picture of that white man, who Wallace Farad thought was his son, this is the same guy here. But watch this. Let's continue.
To him as Master Farad Muhammad, and the brother wanted to ask you some questions about that.
Sure.
If you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
I'm trying to work on a very small project about, Farad and the nation.
Yes, sir.
It's something I'm doing strictly on my own, but that was a very interesting picture.
Very interesting, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. So I wrote down several questions. So whenever you want me to begin, you just let me know and I'll ask you.
Yeah, I've just been good right now.
Okay. All right, Sister Khalila, do you remember the actual date of that photograph? I can see, because I see you're very young in that photograph.
Yeah, the date would be.
Man, this is crazy.
I would be guessing. Would be. I was divorced from my at the time. So it was in my home. He stayed in my home.
All right, we'll move on. Maybe it'll come to you. I
was just thinking, it'll be like 77.
Okay.
I think maybe we were divorced 78, 70, so it had to be in the 70s.
Okay, somewhere in the
late 70s, early 80s.
Now, in that picture, there's two women in back of you, in back of the man. And who is the man?
The man himself?
Yeah, the man that you are presenting.
His name is Muhammad Abdullah.
And now, who is he supposed to be?
Well, he's Muhammad Abdullah.
Is he Farad Muhammad formally?
Well, I was introduced to him as that, but a lot of people don't believe it, but that's what I was introduced to him as. I can only go back.
Now, you hear her say it. I was introduced to him as Wallace Farad Muhammad.
Man. Elder YARAH, man.
Now, I'm going to show y'all, just before we leave, I'm going to show y'all who this guy is again. Watch this.
And here we go.
I'm going to show y'all who this guy is again, man. I'm show y'all who he is again. Let's go back real quick. And I'm going to show y'all who he is again. Show y'all who he is just one more time. You want to see his face in color? There he is. There he is. That's the same guy she's handing the birthday cake to. She's claiming she was introduced to as Wallace Farad Muhammad on his birthday, Muhammad Abdullah, AKA. Get an eyewitness. She's right there. Beautiful thing is, man, you don't got to take Elder Yahweh's word for it. I'm going to end it right there, man.
Oh, man, Elder YARAH. I don't even know why I asked you to come back, man. I don't even know why I asked you to come back, man. This is... link is in the chat, family. We not taking a whole lot of people. The brother got to get to his queen. I got to get to my queen. Come up if you got a question or a comment for the ultimate troublemaker, Elder YARAH. This was... Hey, man, all I can say is I know Khalil watching, man. I know Khalil watching. And I, man. Hey, Michelle, the brothers decided to do presentations, and then they'll both have opportunities to respond. So Khalil will be responding to this presentation with the presentation. At least that's the expectation. Knowing Khalil the way I do, I think he's still gonna do it. But this was crazy. This was Smoke City right here. So yeah, man, y'all come up, man, if you got a question or a comment for the Black Sage. We ain't gonna be up here too much longer, so if don't nobody come in, we're gonna make our exit. But this was surgical. I'm gonna start calling the Black Sage. He is not Elder YARAH no more. He is Alonzo from Training Day. And it's because of this.
You know I'm surgical with this bitch, Jake. How you want it?
I'm just saying, man, we got a couple of people in the building. Al Morris and Jose Francis. Brother Al, you got a question or a comment for Alonzo from Training Day?
Peace to you. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
How you doing? I want to ask, or I want to like lay a claim in a way in regards to the history that you was bringing forth about Master Farad Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad, Nation of Islam. Do you find any thing that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught to be viable? You know, in regards to bringing culture to the American Negro that was maybe the second generation out of slavery, bringing a culture that was outside of the culture that was cultivated during slavery, and bringing the that type of worldview that he was trying to bring.
I would be foolish and untruthful if I would say that he didn't, right? Because we have his writings, we have things that he actually said, right? So he spoke a lot about fatherhood, which I found to be very admirable, and things that we can glean from and take. I found that his teachings on looking after, which is a biblical teaching as well, but it's also a Quranic teaching, looking after the widows and the orphans. Those things are always things to to build upon. He talked about having solid community. He also talked about clearly, as we see, the quote unquote white man being a blind-haired, blue-eyed devil. I wouldn't say that is the propensity for all, but we know that history lays the charge at the feet of them being the progenitors of mass destruction, especially of our people. So for him to put it in that terms, I think that is something that was viable and a solid teaching for us as a collective community. But I also think that the vehicle that it's used, right? It's often given to us something that looks good, it appears to be good, but it's laced with rat poison. One of my favorite scenes in the movie of Hoodlum, if y'all ever seen that movie with Lawrence Fishburne, is when he sits down in an ice cream shop and the young man.
Excellent movie.
Yeah, and the young man brings him his sundae, brings him his banana split. And he looks at it. It looks good, right? It looks good. But he asks the owner, who's always been making his banana split, he says, who made my banana split? And so he says, well, the young guy made it. So he tells the young guy to come over, tells him to have a seat. And he says, did the owner tell you I don't like nuts on my banana split? And he said, yes, sir, I forgot. I'll get you another. He said, no, hold on. Did he tell you or not I like nuts, that I don't like nuts on my banana split? So he said, let me tell you how I like my banana split.
Yeah, that was a dope scene. He showed him the traditional split.
Yeah,
and then he showed him how he like his.
Traditional split. But then you have what we got, like this Elijah Muhammad, this Farad Muhammad comes around, and he gives us this new way of thinking about it. But if we're just looking at it, it still looks like a banana split to most. But with the trained eye and with the one that's actually in tune and conscious, you already know that this is poison. It might look good, but it's rat poison. And a lot of times, because it looks good to us or it sounds good to us, we eat it anyway, not realizing that we're being fed rat poison simply because it looks good or sounds good. It doesn't really benefit us. And that's the problem with the basis of a lot of these newfound religions. It looks good, but it ain't for you. And that's the problem that we have in our community. We don't challenge. We just take everything. Say everybody else eating it, so we gonna eat it. But ain't nobody looking at it. Them nuts ain't really nuts. That's rat poison. So again, back to your question, he talks a lot of things that were good that we can still use today. But if you look at the whole compass of the meal that he was serving you, we ain't taking the rat poison out. We ain't taking out the parts that's detrimental to us. Right? That's the problem that we have, especially Black people, because we always, and I'm going to say it, we always looking for a savior. We're always looking for a savior. And the reason why that's a problem is because we don't sit down long enough to learn enough, to study enough, to know what a savior looks like. That's why it's easy to drag us. Jim Jones, a whole white man, killed more Black folks, grabbed more Black folks to follow him over there to Africa, wherever he took them and killed them and had them drinking the Kool-Aid. More Black folks died over there than white folks. How is that? How is that?
Crazy.
Then the same thing happens over and over and over and over and over again with our people. So, excellent question.
Brother Jose, you got a question or comment for Alonzo from Training Day?
Good evening, everyone. I want to ask this question. Both of them did presentations, but none of them addressed the actual history that deals with Islam in Africa and what happened when the Muslims came to North Africa with that craziness, and how the Nubians started shooting their eyes out and fighting fiercely against Islam. None of them dealt with that.
If I can stop you though, Jose, this wasn't about the sub-Saharan invasion. This was strictly about, is Islam the Black man's religion? And of course, we talking about the NOI, because I don't think the other Islam even postulates or asserts to be the Black man's religion. So this is about the NOI. Also, this was about Master Fard Muhammad. I do think you make a good point in bringing up Islam and its impact on Africa and how it came into Africa. But I think that's something for another time. I'm actually working on an article for my Substack called Is Islam Anti-Black? So as always, we can do an open panel show on that.
So hold on. So you're gonna take away my you're gonna take away my opportunity to be able to do a presentation and talk about some Nubian shooting out Arabic?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think it's room for whatever you want to do and whatever I do. But go ahead and continue.
No, I'm just saying. I just wanted to talk about it. I just wanted to relate it back to Kemet. That's all I wanted to do.
Oh, so you just came up here to get your Kemet off. That's all you came to do.
But it is historically valid, and it does go towards the topic because black people didn't wholeheartedly accept Islam. They fought Islam, and when they couldn't fight anymore, and they were defeated, the same Muslims who we're praising now said we want slaves and got mad when they didn't send healthy slaves. They sent the sick and the
agree with that. We know that.
Now, I agree 100%.
Now, I don't want Elder Yara to get too happy because this might be the first, last, and only time I agree with him on a topic. This might be.
I mean, Jose, I appreciate that, but as you mature, you'll start to agree with me more.
So I don't want him. I don't want to get too happy about it. But as I said, the history was more important to me than all of those other things, because all of that boils down to me is just a religious argument. There's no history involved. There's nothing falsifiable or able to be proven in that sort of argument. And that's no disrespect to LDR, because I would have said that to anyone. That's not going to cut it with people like KHALIL SHABBAZ and the Nation of Islam. They don't want to hear that. They don't care. They're very religious. So you need to come to me. I would come with a more logical approach. Because the
logical approach. I think you missed the first part of the debate. As you see the title, this is part 3. So if you go back and watch the first 2, you'll see much more of a logical approach, where I actually talk about Islam versus what the Nation of Islam and the Fruit of Islam actually teach, that it's actually not true Islam. And the majority of the Arab states that we see are in control today do not practice actual Islam. They practice some form of a bastardized belief. And I'm going to do a teaching on that as well, because there was a pre-Islamic pantheon of deities that before Muhammad came on the scene, that there was a pre-Islamic cult that had many different deities, and they used to have them surrounding the Kaaba, right? So that they would actually go and worship. So it's not until Muhammad comes on the scene that he actually brings in this type of reform that we see today. So the Islam that Muhammad instituted is rarely the Islam that you know of and see today. It's not present in the NOI. It's not present in the FOI. It's not present among the Shiites. It's not present among the Sunnis. It's not. And there's also a third more orthodox teaching of Islam, branch of Islam that exists that's really talked about. They're more closely in line with what the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, actually instituted. So it's different. It's just like Black Hebrew Israelites, Christians, just like those who follow Kemetic spirituality. There's different schools of thought that exist in them all. So that's what you see, and that's what you have.
All right. Now, the different schools of thought with Kemet only come in modern times. There's only one school of thought in ancient Kemet that they write about in primary documents. There's no other form. There is none.
I disagree with
There's
no
that. Other system other than Ma'at. That's it. There's no deviation from that. There's absolute rulership of the king. That's it. There's nothing.
Jose Francis, that's wholly incorrect. And you guys love to give this utopian-like understanding of what ancient
That's not what I
was.
said. No.
Hold on. Let me say this. You made a statement that only until modern times they only practice Ma'at. But we have attestation in the Ramses period that we know that there was a pharaoh who had to deal with the uprising from the people because he decided what Ma'at would be. And in his version of Ma'at, I believe it was either Ramses the second or the fourth, I believe it was the fourth, that he decided that a part of Mayat was his ability, that it allowed him to take other people's wives as his own. And you cannot argue against him as the Nasut because it was his responsibility to uphold Mayat, and whatever he said was Mayat is what you had to go by.
Well, I want you to show me that text, that primary text.
Oh, that's easy.
I want you to show me that primary
and
text,
so also,
and then we'll talk about it. And then we'll talk about it.
And so also, hold on. So also, if you want to say only modern times, what time are you talking about? You talking about before the Ptolemies came in?
That can never be modern time. That can never be modern time.
Exactly. But you said modern time.
That's not modern time. That's
but you said modern time.
That's not modern. That's not modern.
They came in and they acculturated ancient Kemet, and they didn't keep the. They brought in their understanding.
Jose, are you willing to have a discussion with Elder Yarah about that?
Am I willing to have a discussion?
Not a debate, just a discussion. And we can air it on your channel and mine.
Here's what I say is this. I want him to show me that primary access and show me where this man says my eye is why.
Brother Shabazz, you start stepping and you ain't looking where you stepping.
I want you to show me that.
Yeah, Jose, just let me know if you're willing to have a discussion, and he'll bring it to the discussion.
Well, then go ahead. I'm not scared. If you can show me something I don't know, then he'll show me something I don't know. But he's really ever showed me something I don't know about Kevin. And he does and to be honest,
I'm gonna say this.
And let's be honest. And let's be honest. Him and his crew don't use very good sources, in my view, when it comes to talking about
it. Man.
And I'm gonna stick to that.
Here's the thing.
And I'm gonna stick to that.
The problem with you guys making those statements is that you have a confirmation bias. You would disagree with anything that doesn't follow your line of ideology.
No, I just didn't know. I just agree with what you said, and it's not my ideology.
You can't make a valid argument.
All right,
all you have is a confirmation bias.
We got the undeniable superstar Silky D in the building. Silky.
But just to confirm,
you got a question or comment? Hold on. We got Silky D in the building. Silky D. Do you have a question or comment for Elder Yarah? And before you get done, before you finish, talk about what people can expect from you and the Kemetic infomonger. I call him the Saver Supreme, our brother, Steve Calabro. And then my last thing for you, Silky, is I don't know if you've seen the top 10 rankings, but if you did, what you think of where you fell in at? It's on you.
Oh man, well I'm gonna just start on the top on the 10 ranking. I should be to the rank number 1, but it's all right. I'll show that. I'll show that in the ring. And second off, y'all, the debate me and Steve coming up 23rd. Everybody be on the lookout. You know what I'm talking about? That's gonna be no holding back on that one. I just want to touch in what y'all were just speaking on. Jose, I don't know if you're aware, but there were different Egyptian pantheons. Yeah, the pharaoh could change the pantheon, and the Ptolemies, they had a different one. It was several different Egyptian pantheons. So you need to study all of them, and it changed. That's why you got different figures and animals, different, Egyptian gods. It's because the pantheon was changing. And
Jose.
He clearly doesn't know the difference between what we're calling a pantheon and creation stories. They never changed the 9. They never changed what you know as the India. They never changed that. Ra was all Ra. Well, the creation story changed, but his position didn't change. Ra is always considered the supreme deity.
Do you know how many gods there is? There's over like 1,000. Like the number of gods. If you really dive into the Egyptian gods, the number is through the roof. Just unstudying
I don't
God's law.
care.
That's what, hence I tell you the
Real
pantheon.
quick, y'all. Real quick.
So literally study the chief of the pantheons.
We starting to focus on Kemet. I know the community is obsessed with my dear Kemet. I got it all over my right arm. But this is about whether or not Elder YARAH did a good enough job proving that Master Fard Muhammad was indeed a clear person.
I don't
He
think
definitely got his homework. He definitely did his homework a little. He definitely was digging and getting his snoop on for sure. He kicked over the rocks and stones, and you know he did bring forth some evidence. So yeah, I give it. It looked good to me. He did show a little bit. He went out his way. He got to talk to the lady. You know what I'm saying? Got the confirmation. He lined the pictures up. You know, that's doing a little bit of work right there. So I will commend him for that, definitely.
Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it. And shout out to Hayroot Consciousness, man. I appreciate somebody that can have an actual, honest opinion about, information at times, even if we did agree to disagree. But shout out to Hayroot Consciousness, man. Shout out to Yahoo as well, man. And shout out to the brother, man. But yeah, man, I mean, listen, I present information. Of course, I have belief, but even in my presentation, I always try to offer what the pros and the cons is, and then make your decision off of that. So, it's all good, man. But hey, man, we definitely gonna have to get into this Kemet debate, man. I know DMJ, you said don't mess with it right now, man, but we're gonna have to get into it because people don't really understand what those 42 nomes and those 42 laws of Mayat was about. Those 42 nomes, they all worship a different deity. Some had the same deity they worship, but they were worshiping different deities, were the head gods in those different nomes. That's why you had 42 confessions, because you couldn't use the same one for each one of those nomes because they served a different deity. So, hey, man, it's like, hey, man, and like my brother said, man, I think the number was in the thousands. They don't even talk about the different venerations of Set that they had, right? But they'll say they won't even understand that they're talking about Set worshipers in ancient Kemet. That's why some of these pharaohs were called Seti, because they were Set worshipers.
And another look, this is the funny thing about Sutek. So you got Sutek, who was basically an aspect of chaos, who Haru had to defeat to get the throne, who did all kinds of evil and vile things. But then you have the Sutek who stands at the head of Ra's barge when he fights the personification of chaos, Apep. So it's like, so yeah, it's definitely interesting when we get into that. But we got the Worldview Wars social media champion in the building. Hayroot Conscious, what's the word, bro?
Bro, it's Smush Gang, baby.
You there, Hayroot?
This thing Hayroot, is that Hayroot up there?
Hit the likes, man. Love for the panel. Hit the likes.
It looked like Hayroot fell off. So we also have the Worldview Wars academic champion. Now, did he fall off too? The academic champion, my man, the Kemet info monger. Talk to us, brother.
No, I'm right here. Can you hear me? I ain't fall off.
Yes, sir. We got you.
Okay. My question would be, I was listening to parts of the debate. My question would be,
let me interrupt you real quick, Steve. Hey, I got to step away. Please keep it respectful, one mic at a time.
I might have to fall off too, man, because I have to go.
No doubt. My brother Zion is after Steve, but the brother gotta go. So Steve, see if you can make it quick, and then Zion, if you can jump right in, and then the brother gotta go. I'll be right back.
The NOI is not Orthodox Islam. That the NOI also either preaches or teaches from the Bible. So if you have controversy and discrepancies and issues with whatever the teachings are about Master Farad or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, what about when they start teaching and preaching from the Bible?
A lot there. You have a lot of cultic movements that teach from the Bible. You have race. You have racists. You have white racist supremacists. White supremacists that teach from the Bible. Simply because someone teaches from the Bible doesn't mean they're teaching the truth of the Bible, right? I can find quotes that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Master Farad Muhammad always quoted from the Bible. Doesn't mean that they weren't mixing the truth with rat poison. That was my whole point at the very beginning. The Quran actually says to build upon the Torah. It also has an Injil, which is the Gospels, although they're different than the actual Gospels and what we know that come from out of the Judeo-Christian belief system. So simply because people teach out of the Bible, for me, the Bible is not without things we have to question as well. I often teach that the Bible, when you talk about Mark specifically, chapters 9, I believe it is, or 16, I think, or something like that. There are certain sections that we know were added to it. So although they make for sound, for good sound bites, they weren't in the original text. So we have to take those things with a grain of salt. So I'm not a person that's delusioned by what can be altered by man, especially when it comes to the truth. But I'm a truth seeker. So that means I don't just stop at what I know man has the ability to alter. And so I can see that the same way, in Islam. What I will say about NOI and the FOI is that they do not follow true Islam, not what the Prophet Muhammad was teaching. They don't. I brought that out in my first portion of this now back and forth, that they don't teach exactly what Islam actually does convey. But I appreciate your question.
Go ahead, Zion. I ain't my question.
Okay, cool. Yeah, listen, I loved what you was doing. We had that discussion a little bit earlier, I think this week about those connections. I don't know if you found anything connecting Farad. That was very, very eloquent how you did that. Because we had that discussion. I said something about seeing somebody connect Farad to L. Ron Hubbard. You didn't find anything related in that area?
I not specifically enough that I could prepare for this presentation, but as I said before, me personally, when I visited the Salon restaurant in Chicago, that on more than one occasion, that the moment you walk in, if it's still there, I haven't been in a few years, but the moment that you walk in the Salon restaurant in Chicago, which is headed by Farrakhan and the NOI right now today, directly to your right on the wall is a photograph. It's a painting, not a photograph. It's a painting of different of NOI leaders, right? And on the table they have the Bible, they have the Quran. It's a painting. They have the Bible, they have the Quran, and they have the Torah, and then they have a book of Dianetics by L. Ron Hubbard. It's on the table in that painting. And I always wondered to myself, why is that in that painting, right?
Right.
So although I didn't find the direct connections that you were referring to about L. Ron Hubbard and Wali Farad Muhammad, I do think there is some connection there simply based on what I experienced myself firsthand. But I didn't have enough time to study in depth to make a presentation on it. But it is interesting to get into. And Yahweh is not a demigod, Asiatic 7777 negative 7777.
So I appreciate that. Great presentation. I'm looking forward. You got another part coming after this?
I think The brother's gonna do his part because this particular portion of the discussion was Master Farad Muhammad, a white man, was what he challenged me with. So I just took the affirmative on it. He's going to bring it in because I said he was a white man. So he's going to bring, so he's going to bring his because it was supposed to be, for all of those of you who are out there listening, it was supposed to be a debate, right? But the brother decided he just wanted to do a presentation. So fine.
Cool. Yeah, that's it. I'm not going to hold you. If you can give me a call before you get to your business after this, that'll be great, man. I'd like to talk to you real quick, man.
I will. I got you, Mark.
I appreciate it.
Yep, I got you. Sure.
Shout out DMG. Shout out to the panel and to the chat. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to Paradigm Shift 314. I'm out.
Yeah. Peace and blessings to y'all, family. I got to ride, man. I got things I got to get with, man. So again, shout out, man, to DMG, man. Shout out to Paradigm Shift TV. Please like, share, and subscribe. Shout out to the New Torah Movement, Brother KOT. And shout out to those who subscribe. Please go and subscribe to my channel, YARAH _Black Sage _YARAH _Black Sage. I'm going to be coming on with some more different breakdowns on some different things, some topics that really haven't been discussed in this community before. But we will talk about that. Asiatic 777, you a funny dude. But yeah, y'all hit us up, man. New Torah Movement, hit us up on the Black Sage, YARAH _Black Sage. We're gonna be coming with some good stuff. Jose Francis, I'm gonna have to take you because I haven't gotten anyone really on that ancient Kemet debate in a minute. But yeah, let's get it. Sophia did not create Yahweh, brother. Sophia is another version of what we would call wisdom or chokmah in the Hebrew. It's wisdom, man, which gives the feminine aspect of the search for truth and understanding, right? So that's what the scripture says, who can search the deep things of Yahweh, which is wisdom. But it's not one and the same. I mean, it's not separate. It's one and the same, right? So peace and blessings to y'all, fam. Y'all be easy, man. Shalom.
I don't got no friends. I don't got no friends. You know what I mean? I got supporters, people on my side and people on the other side.
Welcome to the shift where the whole room blows. DMG vibes got the city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. This you flat, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm light, yo, shine just right. Respect your view, even if we don't align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. This that channel that be talking back, energy attack. Iron sharpens iron, watch the whole league react. Competition in the building, better tighten up your facts. We ain't clones, but we still mirror how you crack under impact. Every debate will work out, spot a weak, rep fast. You live wrong, paradigm shifts can break your stance. I'm the judge, the jury, the pen, the contrast. My bars hit always like a quadruple. Bottom tell the shift where the whole room blow. DMG vibes got the city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. If you black, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm light, yeah, we shine just right. Respect your view, even if we don't all align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. We invite every mind, long as you stand on yours. Walking with respect, leave with open doors. Channel stay lit, views jumping off from boards. STL bounce, yeah, the spy from the source. Competitors, welcome, step up, don't fold. We don't fit pressure, we refine under load. Thoughts heavy, we press them till the truth gets told. Shift so clean, it feel platinum even when it's gold. Come through correct, bring your logic and your proof. Speak your truth, just don't run from the truth. We debate with grace, that's the paradigm groove. Flow so smooth, even turbulence move. Welcome to the shift, where the whole room go. DMG vibes, got the city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. If you black, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm light, yeah, we shine just right. Respect your view, even if we don't align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. Where the home go. DMG vibes, got the city on go. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' go. If you black, I'm with you, let the whole world know. Paradigm light, yeah, we shine just right. Respect your view, even if we don't align right. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. Welcome to the shift. DMG vibes, got the city on go. Welcome to the shift. Stand on what you know, every mind gon' grow. Welcome to the shift. If you black, I'm with you, if you black, I'm with you. Welcome to the shift. We can disagree and still keep the love tight. Welcome to the shift. DMG family, we elevate the mind right. Welcome to the shift. DMG vibe, got the city on low. Walk with Paradigm Shift TV 304.
Y'all know I say that greeting for one reason and one reason only. It's because if you black, I'm with you. And I hope that you with me.